Greetings, wholeness and blessings. It looks like I hit the nail right on the head. And for the next week, it's going to be 70s and 80s and 50s for the low. So, planting all those warm weather crops yesterday, observing the weather very closely, going back upon years' previous records. We got the plants out and they're not going to be harmed by a frost. So that's a really good plus. Second plus, I got cucumbers, kabocha squash, a melon, and something else up into the greenhouse today where the spaces got moved up from, freed up from planting all of those tomatoes, eggplants, and peppers. Now today, I got the rest of the grass mulched on the potato beds. So I'm just going to take a little deeper dive into that and explain what's going on so you could better understand my practices here on the farm. So let's get into it. So as I've explained in other videos, I'll explain it again real quick. Production bed for elderberry cuttings, potato production, potato production, and then the last 3 beds are garlic production. But in between each bed is going to be vegetable production, cucumbers, squash, tomatoes, and there's a lot of weeds coming up right now through the mulch. And that's okay because I'm seeing it as a benefit. I'm working with them. Look at all these wonderful dandelions that we got growing through. Good for the pollinators, nice deep taproot for filtration of toxins. And that whole field from over here took up 3 80-foot potato beds. So until I can't lay more grass on these weeds until the pasture is ready to mow again. But peas are looking very beautifully. But this pasture isn't going to be ready to mow again for another 2-3 weeks, about end of May, first week of June. But I just wanted to take a quick look. So I did 3 rows right here 9 days ago, and then 4 days ago I did the rest of this pasture. And it's a little bit longer than I would like it, but that was because we had all of the lesser weed, which is this, and the scabious, which is this. Those were the 2 dominant species in this pasture. But now that we've cut all those down, it'll make way for the second cutting, and we'll get some more of those grasses, hopefully some clovers, cleavers, and dandelions, making it more biodiverse. So basically it's just a waiting game. And then I'll mow this whole thing again at the beginning of June. That'll lead it to be mowed again mid-July, and then that'll lead it to be mowed again late August, early September. So 4 cuts. It's a very wet site. And with the forecast for the next week, I potentially think that it could be turning into a drought year. I don't know, it's just funny. I feel like whenever we have a week of without rain, it's like, oh, we're going into a drought. But we do start to get dry very quickly. I know there's a lot of water deep down in the ground, so shouldn't have much to worry about. But I just kind of want it. All of the water comes down off of this mountain and flows through this pasture and literally right through the farm. And there's a river right over there. There's a lot of springs on this property. So even if we are going into a drought year, I'm not worried about it. And I was thinking, because I had a comment from some fellow who lives in Ontario, and they were explaining they think it's going to be a wet year up there already, and it was a wet year, 21 and 23, semi-drought 22, but still got enough rain to make it nothing serious. But 2020, that was the year before I started like my own garden. That was a drought year, so it might be on that 4-year cycle. And I can also remember when I moved up to Vermont in 2017, that was a drought year. So we might be going into a drought, we might not, who knows. But the best thing is that it's going to be stable temps for the next week. So that was my, oh, and I just kind of wanted to say, so it was Sunday, mowed the rest of the pasture. Monday, Tuesday, worked over the mountain, weed whacking and power brooming. And then Wednesday, which was yesterday, I planted all of my plants, peppers, eggplant, tomatoes, and then started mulching the beds. And now today I've weeded some beds and I got all the hay laid down on the beds. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 4 days later, we got the whole pasture cleaned up. And then tonight, it's a fruit day today, so now I gotta sow more cucumbers, squash, a whole bunch of things back at the house. And I got 40 more tomatoes on the heat mat. And I'd say when it's all said and done, it's gonna be anywhere between 300 to 400 tomatoes. It was 64 peppers and 40 eggplant. So just got to keep planting, and then by the beginning of June, we're already starting fall broccoli. So that's the update for today. One Love Wholeness. I'm finally getting my ground out here, and I saw a snake today. So I'm happy about that snake because I also seen a lot of field mice, and the field mice I'm worried about nibbling on the bottoms of the garlic and potatoes. So the snake eats the mice, or the meese, but I think the mice might eat the jumping worms. So that's just the ecosystem. I see a bumblebee right here, and that's a really beautiful sign. So where you at, Mr. Bum? Snake. All right, so you get on those dandelions, bumblebee, and we'll see you on the next one. One Love Wholeness. Peace and blessings.